So today I want to talk about Friday the 13th. I will talk about more horror movies, but I feel like this series deserves being talked about first. I think it's crazy that when most people think of horror movies, they think of Friday the 13th and they think of Jason in a hockey mask. That wasn't until halfway through part 3 of this franchise. And somehow that's the most popular thing in horror. So, in part 1, rather being even Jason, it's Pamela Voorhees, his mom. So, before we get into the movie itself, I used Google, or if I end up using Dead Meat for some of these pictures, shout out to Dead Meat. So, more than half of this video is going to be me just recapping the movie. Right now I'll put on screen where I'll put my actual opinions on the movies, and you can just skip to that part if you want. So it makes sense for a movie like this, or a franchise like this even, to start off with a scene where two teenagers are, doing things. Normal things. So after that, we get our first 2 kills of the series, and it kind of makes sense that the second kill of the series is completely censored. We'll see more of that later down on the line. So after that, we get our first ever long opening credits. This happens so much for the series. But one thing I do like about this credits is it does kick off for the series the really, really, really good, actually, soundtrack. There's always a good soundtrack for these movies that go way harder than they should. So this girl named Annie walks into this one convenience store, bar or something place, and she's looking for a way to go to Camp Crystal Lake, but everybody's giving her a stink eye for some reason. But next scene, we get our first ever scene with Ralph. I love this guy. He's awesome. And I'm pretty sure he's the first ever horror movie guy to go death kiss or whatever, So this one guy ends up driving Annie to right by the lake, and while they're driving, he's telling Annie about Jason's death, a little kid that drowned there a while back. Oh, and add this to y'all's timelines already. 1957 is when he drowned. Later, after a long time of Annie walking, she's picked up by a mystery driver that speeds right by where you're supposed to pull into the lake. Eventually, I'm pretty sure this girl's smart enough to jump out of the car, from what I remember. And so that's one of the smartest choices of this movie. But then Pamela hunts her down within the forest and eventually, I believe, stabs her in the neck. In the version that I watched, I saw that. But for all of y'all, you might watch the censored version. So some teenagers get Crystal Lake, my bad, and the first everything they see at the place that they will die is a shirtless guy chopping wood with an axe. If you wouldn't leave right then and there, then I'm sorry. I don't care if you die. So I'm gonna skip a lot of Act 1 because a lot of it is just boring stuff. One thing that I might miss is there's some sort of scene around here where the main girl just takes so long to do something. And there's 2 scenes like this to kind of just make the movie longer. So last time I watched this movie, I found out that, okay, there's a scene where the main girl finds a snake and then she recalls or something her crew to kill the snake. And I found out the most recent time that I watched this, which was like a couple days ago, that they used a real snake and just killed a real snake to form, I don't know, to like have budgeting or something. Like, come on, like, I don't even really like snakes that much, but to do that, it was somebody's pet too, not just a random snake that they found. I don't know whose pet it was, but I hope they have a new pet snake buddy and everything's okay. So later on, after going on that long tantrum, Ralph, which is the best character in this whole movie, is hanging out in the pantry. When they open it, for some reason, it's kind of weird to just be hanging out in someone's pantry. But it's okay because he's Ralph, and I would hang out in a pantry too. So around the next scene of the movie, this kid walks into a cabin after some voice or something. I have no idea. Oh, hey kids, wanna say hi? That's my kitty. So a bit after that, a storm starts to appear. And it's so much like me. So two of the teenagers go inside of a cabin and time to skip this part. And somehow, simultaneously, while that's happening, some teenagers are playing strip nobblies. Like, I don't know. It's just a very, very adult humor version of Monopoly. Monopoly? I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I've only played that game like twice. So Jack decides to smoke a little weed and then some blood drips on him. So while he's looking up, an arm grabs him and pokes a spear through him. One of the coolest kills of this movie. So Marcy is still in the bathroom at this point, and then she goes like in a shower or something. And then when she turns around, the killer has an axe, and she could have easily moved out of the way within the time that it was, hitting her head. Anyways, we'll see another one of this in Jason Takes Manhattan. So for the other three teenagers, they're about to get deeper into the game, and then the storm kicks in, which means I don't have to skip this part. Everybody say yay. Brittany goes back to her cabin and reads a book until a crying voice of a little boy stops her. So when she goes outside to check it out, some lights come on. Not the lights. No. Then she dies off screen. Bill and Alice, which are the two final people right now, go and find an axe. That's first clue. So they break into the camp office to try to call the police. Finally, why does this movie actually have smart people in it? Anyways, it reveals that the phone lines were cut, so it doesn't really matter. So Steve has been hanging out in his, diner, in this diner the whole time, and someone could make a theory that this diner might be the same one as Jason Goes to Hell, but I don't really think so. But you could. That'd be a fun one just to throw out there. But anyways, he makes it back to camp in, Goodbye, Steve. So the killer turns off the lights. Next scene is the longest scene in this movie, and it was literally made just to kill time. So the freaking girl spends freaking 5 minutes making stupid freaking coffee. So Bill went to go look at the generator, but whenever Alice walks by and someone opens up the door and there's a darted up Bill in there. We get another boring scene just to kill time when Alice is just boarding up the door. I mean, I guess that's smart, but do you really have to spend whole 2 minutes on it? So this girl named Pamela Voorhees pulls up, and she later reveals that Jason is the name of her son that drowned from earlier. Oh my god. So what? And that so what is so she's the killer and she's about to try to kill you. So after Pamela Voorhees pulls out her little pocket knife or sleeve knife or whatever that thing is, she chases her for a long time just before they go out by like a docking area. And then with a machete, which might explain why Jason in the later movies, spoiler alert, likes to have a machete, she chops off Pamela Voorhees' head, permanently eliminating her. Which in real English words means she killed her. So this movie isn't too bad, actually. It's just a lot of things, not a lot of things, but those two scenes drag it down. The thing is I don't feel like this is better than all of the other ones, but I do still like this one. I mean, there's a lot of cool things in this one, but I will rate this one a 6 out of 10. Please don't hunt me down. Pamela Voorhees is a pretty good character. She really, I don't really know. I mean, it's just not a very good reveal, but I do like her character, and I have an action figure of her character. And having an action figure of the character brings it up a point. I guess that's a little bit biased or something like that. But yeah, this movie's definitely a 6 out of 10. So this movie goes in B tier. Feel free to share your opinions in the comments if anybody does actually comment. Just don't be rude to anybody else in the comments. This is a free place to share your opinions in the comments. Alright, bye, and make sure next time you kill a whole bunch of teenagers that they don't grab a machete and chop your head off. Just remember that.